Brought to you by Baby Lock, for the love of sewing. Sulky Threads. Express yourself with Sulky and create with confidence.
Hi, I'm June Dudley with Quiltmaker Magazine, and this is Quiltmakers Block Network. In the last episode, Paula Stoddard showed you how to make her block, Best Friends, block number 396 that she designed for Quiltmakers 100 Blocks Volume 4. In this episode, we have a special guest, Eric Drexler. He's a national educator with Sulky of America, and he's going to take that block and show us all kinds of fun stuff about quilting it, and real specifically about what we need to know about different threads.
Hi, today we're going to be talking about thread and quilting, and not just piecing, we're quilting. We are actually putting thread onto the quilt. A lot of people I know do their quilting, but they don't do the actual stitching on the quilt. So we want to show you and give you a little lesson on thread thicknesses and thread types that there are out there that really will enhance the way that your quilts look and make them really talk to you. When I go into a quilt shop, I usually look at the fabric and it will talk to me. It tells me what types of thread that it needs, and it kind of screams at me and tells me what the quilt will look like when I get finished quilting it. Whether something's enhanced or brought out in some of the features that is quilted or painted onto the quilt fabric. Today we'll be talking about 3 different types of thread. There's the 30 weight thread is a standard thickness thread. Most quilters are used to using that thickness. And one that's a little bit thicker and one that's a little bit thinner. Now you can do the same stippling stitch with any of those types of threads, but with a 12 weight thread you need to keep your stippling stitches a little bit more spread apart because it is a thick thread. With a 60 weight thread we can do micro stippling, which is very, very fine and tiny stitches, and the stitches can be kept very, very close together. Where on the 12 weight thread they need to be spread apart a little bit more. So it all depends on the look that you want. Now, of course we have a holographic thread in here. We're not talking about that today, but if you really want a little sparkle to your stitches, that really can enhance it quite a bit too. I'll bring in this other piece that we have. This is actually from the quilt block that they loaned me to decorate. The different types of panels that we have on here, the 30 weight that we're using on this panel, is actually done stippling through the entire piece. I'll pull out a piece so you can see what that looks like and the thickness of it. This is all stippled just with the 30 weight, and it's also done with an outline pattern around the outside of the star. The star is drawn onto Sulky Solvy, which is a water-soluble stabilizer, and it's clear and see-through. Little spray KK2000 on it, which is a temporary spray adhesive. We can stick that onto certain design elements. This star has it, the one in the center has it, and the other stars on the outside do too. This one just still has the solvy in there. And that will enable you to have a pattern to draw by without all the freehand grief that you might have if you're just trying to doodle doing this. The doodling is out here. We want a pattern for this so each one of these stars are exactly alike. So from this we go over into the geometric shapes that you see on this star, or on the outside of this star, and that you can actually see where the colors are changing. The Blendables are a different type of thread altogether. They don't color change like most variegated thread in little 4-inch or 2-inch color breaks. These randomly color break every 2.5 to 5 inches. So you'll get a long length of color, then you'll get a short length of color. The next one that comes out might be very long. So it breaks up that random quilting so that each one of these rows don't look like one red row, one blue row. We get a little bit of color changing in between it because of the colors randomly dispersing that color. From this area, we can go over into doing an outline quilting. And this you can do, any one of those 3 you can do with the 12 weight thread also. The 12 weight thread, bring that in so you can see it. 12 weight is a much heavier looking thread, so if you really want your stitches to stand out, a 12 weight thread is a third thicker than 30 weight thread is. So it really enhances the design that you want to show off. Depends if you want to show it off or if you want it to be very subtle. So I just did an outline stitch around the outside of the entire star, and I outlined inside the blocks too, just to show off and enhance and bring that red, white, and blue color to the fabric. Into the next block that we have over here, this is our 60 weight thread. This is a poly light. 60 weight, if we're talking about it, 12 weight being a very thick thread, 30 weight being a third thinner, 60 weight is a third thinner than that thread is. So it's a very, very fine thread. You can do teeny tiny little micro stippling and it looks absolutely perfect. It's a very forgiving thread also. We can also drop down a couple needle sizes if we're trying to do very, very precise sewing and keeping everything right up next to it. Or if I was to go around the outside of that paisley print, I could stay right on that line and enhance the paisley that's in that print also. So it all depends on how you want that quilt top to talk to you. Do you want to embellish the outside? Embellish the outside and have the Solvay template on there that actually enhances that star, or if you just simply want to enhance the paisley that's in the print. Now on the large quilt that we did, this is the 30 weight thread that I used, and this is on a long arm machine, so this is also available on cones if you're going to do a large amount of stippling. This is not stippling though, this is meandering, so it's all over quilt design, not individual little stars like we were talking about with the other one. So let's go over to the sewing machine and see how much fun this is to actually watch it sew. So when I'm quilting, I make sure that my stitches per inch are very consistent. The stitches per inch, if you were to look at your stitches when you just push a straight stitch with your presser foot on, you want to duplicate those same stitches with the free motion sewing. So I'm in control of moving the fabric underneath the needle. Also too, when you get to a seam where there's several layers of fabric, because we have several joining areas like where I'm coming up to right now, we can get a little thumping sound because of the thickness of it. So I do want to try to maybe get a little white knuckle, push my needle down, that makes sure that needle doesn't travel while I'm working. But we make sure to grab a hold of that fabric a little bit better so that it doesn't get out of control or go wonky on us while we're trying to go across that seam. And what I'm doing right now is I'm into a corner, but I made sure that when I got into this corner, I left myself an opening so I can get back out of here. So when I'm doing the quilting, I make sure that the fabric's moving very fast. If I have to slow down in an area, I slow down the machine and I slow down the fabric, not just one. If you slow the fabric down, you'll be doing a whole lot of stitches in one area, and if you speed the machine up, you need to move the fabric faster. So that's my little tips with free motion quilting. I hope this has helped you a lot.
Thanks so much for joining us today, Eric. It was great fun learning more about Sulky Threads.
It was my pleasure.
You can find Best Friends and 99 more amazing blocks in Quiltmakers 100 Blocks Volume 4. Hope to see you again soon at Quiltmakers Block Network. And we'll do that one again, but...
It's because I did the eyebrow at her and threw her right off. You gave her a short chair. She's 4 inches shorter chair. Here, June, see if this will work. Swap with me, see what this does. While we're here.
That's brilliant.